Let's talk frame selection and issues and all the stuff that people have abused over the years. So I started out, I had an 88 250R, and I had, the frame was a mess. It had previous repairs. It had stuff welded on it. It was, I probably shouldn't even used it, but I decided to use it because it's what I had at the time. So I took it to my fabricator. We did a gusset kit on it, which I highly recommend, and he got it done. Unfortunately, we did miss one crack, and a lot of times in the OEM frames, there's hairline cracks. You won't even see them, and I know there's a method that some guys use where they put something into one of the holes in the frame, and it basically fills it with kind of smoke, and that smoke will come out all the cracks. And that's actually what happened with my fabricator. He started welding one thing, and next thing you know, he started seeing smoke from the welds coming out of a bunch of other places. So yeah, it was a big undertaking, but I did race that. Even with the one crack, it held up desert racing. I did a 4-hour desert race, a couple of desert races actually, and I never had an issue. But that brings us to, OEM versus aftermarket. And sure, everybody wants an aftermarket frame, but they're not cheap. So if you're doing recreational riding, there's absolutely nothing wrong with an OEM frame. I do suggest that if you're going to powder it, take the time and do a gusset kit. There's a couple gusset kits out there. I use one from Puma Shine. So you can Google that, Puma Shine gusset kit or Puma Shine 250R, and it'll come up. The kit's pretty reasonable. I think it's like $80 for the complete kit, and definitely worth the while, worth the money. Some things to look out for. Now, this is my new 2001 Lone Star frame for the practice quad, and at first sight, it looks great. Powder's not in terrible shape, chrome subframe, looks pretty good. But after I took it apart, found a couple issues. The first one I noticed is someone cut the tab off for the airbox mount. Why someone would do that, I have no idea. And guys, do everyone a favor. Just try not to modify the frame, because it just ends up being more money for the next person that may have it. And these days, there's really no reason to modify the frame. There's enough aftermarket parts out there. So that's kind of a minor issue. I've solved that in the past. I had another frame without it, and all I did was made an aluminum bar, bolted it here, and then bolted the airbox to that. So this one, I'm not even sure if I'm going to fix it. I may just leave it. The biggest issue is, and it's a common problem with Lone Star frames, is the steering stop was broken off. And whoever fixed it or attempted to fix it made a mess. You could see that's just, look at that, big gap in it, and it's terrible. They even burned, there's a notch here in the cup where they burned through it. So this one is obviously a big issue and that I have to get fixed. So I'm going to be sending this frame down to my fabricator next week. We'll burn the powder off. He'll fix the steering stop, and then I'll get it back and it'll go to powder. So there's going to be a couple week, probably 2 to 3 week gap in the building of this quad, just because it's going to take me a few weeks to get all that stuff done. But I have other stuff we can talk about in other videos. So what to look for in a frame. Let's say you're buying an OEM frame. This one was used and abused. I pulled the bike apart and the motor was a mess. The frame is a mess. In fact, this frame is trash. It's probably not even worth fixing. So some of the common areas to look for, right in the subframe back rear area here, you can see there's a big crack. And that's a common one because of the twist of it. And, it'll crack on either side. The other spots to look out for, down by the pegs, you can see this one has a big crack. There's another crack starting there. And some of the cracks are easy to see if the dirt gets into them. Other ones are hairline and you won't see them. Motor mounts can crack from the twisting of the torque of the motor, especially if you get a big bore in there. This one, complete bottom motor mount snapped off. Front motor mount tweaked, cracked it there. You'll get cracks up in the steering stem area. And another big one to look out for is the bottom. So this one is solid, but these are known to rot out. And I actually have 2 frames sitting up there. The black one was my first frame I ever got. Bought it sight unseen, and that was because I was new. I didn't ask to see the bottom. So all 3 of the OEM frames I have issues. The green one is an 88, perfect condition. Actually, the black one is an 87, perfect condition, except for the rotting of the underside. All the bolt holes are good. It's titled. So that one I may get a plate made for it because it's a good frame. The green one is an 88, perfect condition, except someone cut the airbox grommet tabs off. So easy fix, but again, it's more cost and time for me because now I got to get those replaced because you really need those to support the airbox. So those are the main things to look out for. It's always tough buying a frame because when the bike is together, you may not see some of this stuff. A lot of these are very obvious, but the steering stem I didn't even see until I pulled it all apart because the steering cup here, the stop, the stem was covering it, so I didn't even notice it. And I bought this off my buddy, and he didn't notice it either because he would have told me about it. But other than that, this frame is solid. We could talk about no link versus standard link in another video because I want to keep this kind of short. But again, those are the main things to look for. Even the aftermarket ones with the Lone Star, the newer ones, this is a 2001 and it has the rear motor mounts. They actually removed them. My 2003 does not have those motor mounts because they were cracking. So, these can crack right in this area here. Same thing with up in the peg area, because a lot of times why these frames crack is guys are riding the crap out of them and the suspension isn't set up for it. It's too stiff and it's just constantly taking a beating. And obviously this frame is just beat to crap. I mean, this guy wrote it. I wrote it until it was done. So this is what comes in the Puma Shine gusset kit. And I always buy the complete kit. You buy it based on year. And they have a standard and a complete. And honestly, for, I don't know, 30 bucks extra, it's better to get the complete. So you'll get, gussets for this area. You'll get this gusset that has to be cut, but it fills, that'll add more strength to the rear here to keep it from twisting. Then you'll get motor mounts. You'll get gussets for here to strengthen the stem area in here. You'll get new lower mounts. You'll get reinforcements for these mounts. And then you'll get some other miscellaneous gussets that, will beef up this area, the swing arm, the pivot bolt area, and stuff like that. So again, if you're going with OEM, nothing wrong with it. But I recommend gusseting it because if you're going to spend all that money on powder, and then you get a crack, well, now you just wasted all that money. So nothing wrong with OEM. Aftermarket is good. Aftermarket's getting harder to find. Obviously, Lone Star still makes them. Steve Buczynski with ISF Racing has one, but I know he's slammed, backed up, not taking orders. Brian May, another guy, is working on one. That one's not ready yet. So there's going to be new stuff hitting the market. You don't need it if you want it. Cool. The OEM frame is mild steel versus the aftermarkets are all chrome ollie, and chrome ollie actually flexes, so it doesn't crack as much. But so that's kind of what to look for in the frames. Make sure you try to inspect all those areas. Otherwise, it's going to cost you more money. And, you're going to not be happy because you got a busted up frame. So I think that's about it for now. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me and I can answer anything or try to answer anything you want. I don't know everything, but I'll let you know what I do know. All right, that's it for this one. See you next time.